Okay, time for some factorizing. Now, this is something if you want to go into higher, you really want to get a handle on because almost every higher question it feels like has some form of factorizing. So let's get good at this. So the first thing we want to know is just roughly what we're doing. So you always want to take a common factor out where you factorize, and then you're doing difference of two squares, which we'll go over, a regular trinomial, which I'll go over, or a kind of harder trinomial, which we'll go over. So there's three main types of factorizing. Before we do anything, always want to look for a common factor. So let's have a look through then. So solve this, solve this. Now, it's worth maybe noting actually, just if you're interested, what does that even mean when we solve this? So this function here, not function, sorry, this equation, I can think on that as y equals. This is really saying what happens when y is 0. Okay, well, if I've got a function, I've got a graph, it's doing something like this. This is where y is equal to 0. It's called the roots of the equation. Yeah. Y here is say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Yeah. When x is equal to 0, the function crosses the y-axis. There's when x is equal to 0. And this is when y is equal to 0. So that's what we're doing with factorize. We're finding the roots of our equation. And it's a very simple process to it. All we're looking to do is rewrite it with two brackets. And we say, okay, what two numbers have to go in here to multiply it to give us this? Well, we need two numbers that add to this number and multiply this number. So I'm looking at that thinking, okay, I'm not really sure. I'll write my factors of 24 down. So 1 and 24, difference is 11. 2 and 12, difference is 11. 3 and 8, there, that looks better, doesn't it? So I want to multiply to negative 24, but add to negative 11. So I know I'm going to have 8 and 3, and they're both going to have to be negative. Yeah, if I add that together, this, multiply for that. And then what you're saying is, well, x take away 8 has to equal 0, or x take away 3 has to equal 0 in order that the final solution is 0. Because this is going to give you a number, that's going to give you a number. Either of these brackets are 0, you get 0. And then we just rearrange, solve. So we say, well, x is going to have to be 8 then. 8 take away is 0. X is going to have to be 3 then, because 3 take away 3 is 0. Or you're thinking about it as an equation where you're adding x to both, 8, negative 8 to both sides. So you add 8 to this side, add 8 to that side, add 3 to that side, add 3 to that side, same thing. Or you can just think to yourself, you change the signs. If you want to think about it. But yeah, that's our first form of factorizing. We couldn't take a common factor. That's our regular trinomial. And you're going to get questions like this where we're putting two together and you've got to cancel stuff out. So this first one, let's see, can we take a common factor out? No. So this is your difference of two squares. This is where a squared plus b squared, or sorry, take away difference, take away obviously, comes a take away b and a plus b. So all that really means is I'm going to take the square root of this, and that's going to feed into these two. And then I'm going to take the square root of this, and that's going to feed in to these two. Okay, so a squared becomes a, b squared becomes b. So what is the square root of that? Okay, so the square root 4x squared. That's going to become square root of 4 and x. So that just becomes 2x. Think about it, it makes sense. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. So the square root of 4x squared is going to be 2x. Nice one. So I know that's 2x. So I've got my two brackets. 2x and 2x. And I've got a plus and a minus, doesn't matter which order. And 25 just becomes 5. If you multiply that out, you'll see it becomes this. The next one says simplify. Now here's a wee trick. If we want to simplify, something is going to have to cancel out. So one of these brackets is going to appear on the bottom. Otherwise, we can't simplify. So if you're a wee bit stuck, you can think to yourself, well, one of these brackets is part of the answer. But it's one of these brackets times something. Just as a wee clue. So anyway, let's try and factorize that one. 2x squared take away x take away 10. Now what we're doing this time is we're adding to the middle number, which in this case is negative 1. Don't write 1, mathematicians. And the number that multiplies to these two numbers multiplied to negative 20. So what adds to negative 1 multiplies to negative 20? Well, right, factors down for 20. He doesn't. 4 and 5. That looks good, doesn't it? So 2x squared stays the same. I just move that down. Negative 10 stays the same, but the negative 1x, I'm going to rewrite that as, what we're going to do is we're going to add to that. So it's going to be negative 5x plus 4x. Because if I multiply them, negative 5 and 4, I get negative 20. If I add them, I get 1. So I've just rewritten negative 1 as negative 5 plus 4. And now I split my equation in two. Say, okay, that's the same as 2x. I can take a common factor of 2. Oh, I can't take a common factor of 2x out. I can only take a common factor of x out. Ah, well, this is one of the, okay, so let's see, if I take 2x out, that'd be the same as x take away 5 over 2. That would still give me the same. But I don't want to do that because it's going to look a wee bit messy. So at this point, this is where a wee bit of ingenuity comes in. I'm going to rewrite it as 4x take away 5x. The reason I've done that is because if you look, 2 and 4, and it's 2 times table, and 5 and 10 the 5 times table, this will now be easier to factorise. So take out 2x, that's going to be x plus 2. And then I rewrite this bracket over here as x plus 2, and I say, right, what do I have to put in front of it? What do I have to write in here? Multiply this bracket to give me these two terms. I'll put a negative 5 in front of it, then give me those two terms. And then we'll just put everything together. So 2x take away 5. I'm putting the 2x down here, the negative 5 in there, and then I rewrite one of those brackets. So that feels a wee bit trickier than the other one, doesn't it? A wee bit trickier. But again, looking at final answer, going, oh, yeah, it's good, because now these two cancel out, and I'm just left this. So this is something that you need to practice. This is tricky. This is tricky. That little bit in the middle, that, you know, that's the only trick of it, is just know which order those numbers. If you put, the 2 and the 5, you're thinking, well, I can't take a common factor, so I just flip them. The other way you can do it is just trial and error, actually. So if you think you've got 2x squared take away x take away 10. So if I multiply my brackets out, and I've got 2x squared, and I've got negative 10. I'm going to have an x up here, x in here. And then you say, right, what two numbers multiply to give me negative 10? Well, I could try negative 5 and 2. And what do I get to get 2x squared? Well, one of these is going to have to be 2. It's going to have to be 1. So let's just see how the x's fall. That's negative 10x and 2x. Now that doesn't add to give me that. I'm thinking, right, something's round the wrong way. Let's try it the other way around. Instead of having the negative 5 up there, I'm going to put the negative 5 down here. And I'll put plus 2 up there. How's that go? Now I've got 4x, negative 5x. Ah, there we go. That's your answer. So that trial and error method got you to the exact same place as the algebraic method. So I've got x plus 2, I've got 2x take away 5. So you can do it by trial and error as well, and they shouldn't be so complicated that it would take you ages to work it out. Obviously, the bigger the numbers you get, the more options you get. If this is 60x squared and a million, quite a lot of options for that, But for these, you shouldn't find there's too many, so you might want to try that as well. So let's try another one. Take out a common factor of 3. X squared take away, what's that? 1. That's 16, 6 of 18, yep. There we go. And difference of two squares, so the square root of x is just x. I'm going to be left with x and x, plus and minus. And square root of 16 is 4. 4 and 4. Final answer. So get your common factor. If you've got two terms, you're thinking it's going to be difference of two squares. If you've got just a 1 in front of the x squared, it's your trinomial. There's an actual number like 2, 2, 4 in front of the trinomial. It's this trickier method. Okay, and I'll just see if I can do this one very quickly. On the top, common factor, and on the bottom, adds to this, multiply to this. So that'd be 5 and 10 x. It's 5 this time. X take away 4 again. I should have thought that because x take away 4 is on the top. Cancel them out for x over x plus 5. And I'll see if I can just do a solution for this one here. So different. This is your quadratic equation, which we're going to do in the quadratic section. So actually, that's everything. So I hope that was helpful. If you see two terms, you're thinking difference of two squares, always get a common factor and practice this. You can try this method as well.